That I'm not prepared to stand up here today and tell you I'm going to call a special session, because I think there's a lot of homework for us to do in order, if we were to have a special session, to have a successful one that the folks are informed, one that they understand all the nuances, that they understand the pros and cons, and engaging the legislative leadership, the legislative committees, health and welfare, on the issue, so that as we do go forward, we're not. It's not another issue that we short stroke. The education got an absolute A, excellent. In fact, if there's a higher grade than that, I would give it. I think we started the session understanding that we needed to keep past promises. We worked hard to make sure that we got that, and it was reflected for the most part. The Idaho Education Network probably comes as close as Idaho ever has to fulfilling the constitutional mandate of free, uniform, thorough, and common. And because it has leveled the mountains, it's closed the distances because of technology. And so I think everybody in the legislature, by their reaction, and they're making some moves to make sure that the IEN continued this year, is prescriptive of what's going to happen in the future. The Idaho Education Network is going to be although it may come out under a different name, we will engage in the interim committee and the legislative interim committee's deliberations on it. And the main thing that I believe we all want is to continue the education opportunities that are a result of the Idaho Education Network.
Do you have a thought on a statewide contract going forward versus the ability of local districts?
Well, we know when we were released from the contract, that about 50% of the school districts stayed with the statewide contract because they simply didn't have the personnel or maybe even the expertise in order to go on their own. Was there other efficiencies and economies realized when they got to rebid the contract? I would say yes. I would not expect those to go forward in the future because whether or not some of those new contracts would suggest that, well, before they were being gouged, and so now all of a sudden they're getting it a lot cheaper. We know of some areas where those economies have helped the local school districts. In fact, I think, Scott, yours is one of them. But I still think if you take a look at the enabling legislation that was passed, it speaks to more than just education. It speaks to libraries. It speaks to telemedicine. It speaks to the Department of Commerce. And who knows what else we could possibly add to that? Because, as I say again, we have erased the mountains. We have shortened the distances. And in the information age, when you have a tool like that, it's not a tool that you're going to treat lightly. So there will be an IEN in the future, whatever else we may call it, and it will be functioning for education, telemedicine, libraries, and the economy.